Warm up with sun salutations, simple lunges, and shoulder opening poses. Then, set up near a wall and have 2 blocks nearby. Come into Balasana, child's pose, and reach your arms forward, hands shoulder distance apart, elbows straight. Root down evenly through your knuckles to create some resistance as you lift your forearms away from the mat. Bring your attention up your arms to the part of your shoulders closest to your ears. Lift your inner shoulders up toward the ceiling to broaden around the base of your neck. Simultaneously firm the outer upper arms in to engage your triceps and keep your arms straight. Inhale, lift up to all fours. Exhale, push back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. Set your drishti or eye gaze soft and steady toward your feet. Create a straight line from your hand to your hips, keeping a 180-degree angle in your shoulders. Press down through the whole of each hand to create power in your forearms and keep the lift of your inner shoulders toward the ceiling. Avoid sinking through your armpits. From the strength in your arms, press your hips back and up and lengthen your back and front body equally. Press your shoulder blades gently in toward your chest and draw your front ribs toward your frontal hip bones. Spin your inner thighs back to keep your legs in a neutral rotation and use long, even breaths to create steadiness in the pose and to still your mind. The longer you hold the pose, the more it will open your shoulders, imprint alignment, and cultivate a calm, steady quality of mind that you'll look for again in Urdhva Dhanurasana. Bend your knees and release into child's pose. Recognize this practice as an opportunity for gaining clarity and focus. The Yoga Sutra of Patanjali says, "Effort towards steadiness of mind is practice." Apply that principle to this practice and ultimately to your Urdhva Dhanurasana, and you'll discover a whole new layer of potential in the pose. With your fingertips 4 to 5 inches from the wall, lengthen your arms forward and lift up and back to down dog to prepare for Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, handstand. Set your intention to stay focused and quiet throughout this energizing inversion. On an inhalation, rock your shoulders forward so they stack directly over your wrists and look slightly forward of your fingertips. Step your feet in a few inches, lift your hips a little higher, and come on your tiptoes into a short, high, downward-facing dog. Inhale, emphasize the height in your hips. Exhale, step your right foot forward halfway to your hands. Inhale, push off your right foot and lift your left leg to the wall with your right leg following. Let your head drop to lengthen the back of your neck. Flex your feet, reach up through your heels, and spin your inner thighs toward the wall to keep the same neutral leg position as dog pose. Direct the flesh of your buttocks toward your heels to lengthen your lower back. Lengthen toward the ceiling equally through the front and back sides of your body. Cultivate mindfulness by paying attention to your balance in the pose. Draw your inner shoulder blades away from the base of your neck and press your shoulder blades in toward your chest. Direct your front ribs toward your frontal hip bones. Observe how this prevents you from sinking into your lower back or your armpits. To come down, gently release your right leg toward the floor, keeping your left leg reaching up as long as possible. Step back to downward facing dog and then rest in child's pose. Take a few slow, calming breaths to steady your mind. To come back into handstand from here, you'll switch your lead leg on the entrance and exit. Take downward facing dog pose at the wall. Stack your shoulders directly over your wrists. Look slightly forward of your fingertips, lift your hips, and come on your tiptoes. Inhale, emphasize the height in your hips. Exhale, step your left foot forward halfway to your hands. Inhale, push off your left foot and lift your right leg with the left leg following up to handstand. Keep your eye gaze and your breath steady as you maintain balance. Lift up through your heels and lengthen both sides of your body equally. A difficult pose can be a great place to work on steadying your mind. Your focus and attention to detail turn your practice into a tool for gaining clarity and concentration. To come down, slowly release your left leg and then your right. Step back to down dog, and then rest in child's pose. Tightness in your shoulders can make getting an even curve in Urdhva Dhanurasana difficult. By bringing focus and patience into your practice, you'll learn to recognize where you need more flexibility in order to open your spine more evenly in back bends. Lift up from child's pose and come into tabletop position, facing away from the wall to prepare for King Arthur's pose. With the balls of your feet touching the wall, tuck your toes under and place a block on either side of your shoulders in the tall position. Stack your hips directly over your knees and your shoulders directly over your wrists. Lift your left knee and bring it back as close as possible to the base of the wall. Point your left toes straight up, resting your left shin against the wall. Step your right foot forward, release your hips toward the floor, and adjust your right leg so your right knee is at 90 degrees. Press your palms firmly on the blocks as you drop your tailbone and lift your lower belly and chest. Slowly shift your hips back to the wall. Take your left hip inside your left heel, bringing your left leg into an up-the-wall version of Virasana, Hero's Pose. Shimmy your right foot back, bring your right knee to 90 degrees, and take your buttocks back to the wall. Take your hands to your right thigh. Be mindful here. Back off if the sensation in your left knee becomes more than a dull ache. If your buttocks are at the wall, lift your arms to a parallel arm Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute, to reinforce the shoulder opening you'll need for Urdhva Dhanurasana. Drop your tailbone, move your front ribs toward your frontal hip bones, and lengthen your lower back to direct the stretch to your hip flexors. Slowly release your arms, take your hands to the blocks, then the floor, and come back to all fours. Step your right knee back to the base of the wall. With your right shin at the wall, point your right toes straight up. Step your left foot forward, release your hips down, and adjust your left knee to 90 degrees. Drop your tailbone and press your hands into the blocks to open your belly and chest to come into King Arthur's pose on this side. Use the blocks for support as you shift your hips back to the wall. Take your right leg into the up-the-wall Virasana position. Walk your left foot back with your left knee at 90 degrees and take your hands to your left thigh. Be mindful of your right knee and ease off if the sensation becomes intense. If your buttocks are at the wall, feel free to lift your arms to Urdhva Hastasana. Release down through your tailbone and soften your front ribs toward the front of your pelvis. Maintain the length in your lower back as you deepen the stretch in your hip flexors. Release your arms and bring your hands to the blocks, then the floor. Release your right leg from the wall and come to all fours. Rest in child's pose. Relax the effort in your body as you prepare for the next pose with steadiness and ease. Lift your torso up, then lie on your back for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. Take your knees above your heels, your feet and thighs hip distance apart and parallel to one another. Remain even and balanced in the pose, both in your physical body and in your mental approach, to set the tone as you work toward the final pose. Reach your fingers toward your heels. Pull your shoulders a little bit closer to your ears to soften the trapezius muscles, and turn your palms to face the ceiling. Inhale, press down with your feet and lift your hips. Tune into the places that feel tight, using the physical sensations to focus and direct your mind. Keep your thighs and knees parallel and your feet fixed as you isometrically draw your heels toward your buttocks. This will help you use your hamstrings rather than your gluteus muscles to lift your pelvis, and it will release compression across the lower back by preventing your thighs from separating. You'll repeat this action in Urdhva Dhanurasana. Interlace your fingers beneath you, keep your shoulders in place, and roll your outer upper arms under as you press down through your outer shoulders. Release your inner thighs down toward the floor and extend the flesh of your buttocks toward your knees to lengthen your lower back. Take smooth and steady breaths with a sense of evenness and calm as you explore the spaciousness in your chest and spine. Keep your knees directly over your ankles as you release the grip of your hands and lower your pelvis to the floor. Take a moment here to establish an intention to remain present and patient as you explore the final pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Place your hands on the floor beside your ears, fingertips just beneath the shoulders. Bring your elbows shoulder distance and turn your hands out slightly if you need help moving the elbows into alignment. Lift up partway and lower onto the crown of your head. Keep your knees hip distance apart and your elbows shoulder distance. Then pull your elbows away from the wall to draw the arms deeper into the shoulder sockets. From here, lift your sternum toward the wall without lifting your head to bring a deeper curve into the thoracic spine. Inhale, lift your shoulder blades and sacrum simultaneously and press straight up. Stay focused on creating an even curve. Move toward a 180-degree angle in your shoulders and keep your arms and legs parallel to each other, your forearms and shins as perpendicular to the floor as possible. Keep your knees slightly bent and stack them directly over your ankles to avoid compression in your low back. Stay with the true shape of your pose. Remain steady and calm. As you move into your full back bend, bring your navel to the highest point of the curve. To release, step your feet away from your hands, tuck your chin and bend your elbows, keeping them shoulder distance apart. Lower back down, keeping your knees directly over your ankles. Roll onto your side and push up to Dandasana, staff pose. Extend your legs, place your arms alongside your torso and press down through your hands. Broaden across your chest and find an even sensation in your spine. Notice how your practice has affected the quality of your mind as you take smooth, steady breaths. Over time, practicing this back bend with patience and mindfulness will open your spine, calm your mind, and lead to greater focus and clarity, both on and off the mat. Finish your practice with 15 to 20 minutes of quieting poses, such as gentle forward bends and an easy reclined twist. From here, lie down in Savasana, corpse pose. Soften into smooth, even, effortless breathing, and observe the calm and relaxed quality of your mind.